Woodblock printing is a significant Chinese contribution to human civilization. Invented centuries before Gutenberg's printing in Europe, Suzhou prints, representing the maturity of Chinese woodblock printing technology, particularly in multicolored printing, marks the pinnacle of Chinese printmaking. From the perspective of both technological evolution and artistic achievement, Suzhou prints holds a significant position in the history of Chinese printmaking, and indeed the history of printing civilization worldwide.
Can you tell us about Suzhou prints, why they are so important? Also, their relationship with the Chinese woodblock printmaking.
To our current knowledge, it was China that invented woodblock printing around the 700s, and it was again the Chinese who developed color printing with multiple blocks in the early 17th century, well before the technique spread to Japan. In the 17th century, printing flourished in such Jiangnan cities such as Nanjing, Suzhou, Hangzhou, and Huizhou, evolving from privately enjoyed illustrated books printed in color to more commercialized single-sheet prints. These single-sheet prints were hung on walls and became part of the rich urban visual culture. Outstanding examples of early color printing are the 10 Bamboo Studio collection of calligraphy and painting, which was printed around 1633, the letter papers of the 10 Bamboo Studio, which were printed first around 1644, and the Mustard Seed Garden Manual of Painting, which was first printed around 1679 and 1701, all printed on the initiative of a single individual scholar in Nanjing. We all have seen the various editions of these iconic printed manuals that soon found then their way to Korea and Japan. Color printing culminated in the single-sheet prints of the commercial Ding family workshops in Suzhou around the 1720s to 1760s. The acquired prints from the Vonderburg collection were all made in 18th century Suzhou, therefore representing perhaps the finest of Chinese color printing made in its history. It is worthy to note the striking three-dimensional effects of blind breast paper on the prints, so-called embossing or gauffrage, and impressing a woodblock on paper without color. And this technique was employed by the Ding workshops for their bird, flower, fruit, and antiquities prints. Although we know that this technique has already been used by the printers in the earlier letter paper of the 10 Bamboo Studio collection, the technique is much more visible and the relief on the paper much more pronounced in the Ding prints. Even after 300 years since their creation, we can still see the relief on the paper. To my best knowledge, it was not much later that this technique and style can then be seen in Suzuki Harunobu's prints, a printmaker celebrated for the sumptuous effects, elegance, and refined use of color in Japan.
Suzhou prints represent the pinnacle of Chinese color printmaking technology and have had profound influence on East Asian printmaking. However, a noteworthy historical phenomenon is that these works, once widely circulated in the Jingnan region, have barely survived inside China, while being well preserved in Europe and Japan. This historical process of cultural heritage dispersal and the efforts of contemporary collectors to reassemble these works warrants further exploration.